malicious code or is it not malicious code? Okay, so this is the system that we developed, and the testing, okay, once you do the training, the testing is, you have all these executables, we develop the assembly programs, and then you compute the feature vectors from the programs, and we test with the classifier that we have developed. And the classifier will predict, is it a malicious code or not? And we have a number of results. Okay, so some of these things I'm going to, I'll write the email addresses, you can send us email and we'll send all our 3 papers. So what we are doing here is the feature extraction binary n-grams. So n-grams could be 2 grams, 4 grams, 6 grams, and so on. So given a 11-byte sequence, you have, each one is hexadecimal representation. So 0, 1 will be 1 byte, 2, 3 is another byte, 4, 5. 11-byte sequence, there are 50 million of n-grams can be generated. So that's a problem. So it's a very large data set. There are too many features in terms of millions. So what are our solutions? One is to use secondary memory, develop efficient data structures. That itself is not sufficient. So, even in assembly n-gram features, there are several instructions, several features, not as many as binary code, but it's still quite a lot. So you have instructions like push, EEX, move, whatever, and then you can develop the 2 grams, which is shown in the next chart. And then there is, this is going to be put on your website, right? So those of you all want to look at the more details, you can try and figure out that these are n-grams. And so the sample problem, same problem as the binary, lots of features. So in the feature selection, what we are doing is trying to select the best K features using some entropy calculations. So selection criteria is something called information gain, and gain of an attribute A on a collection of examples is given by, so how much gain is the attribute A having? And I won't go into the details of this. Our paper is explaining. And so essentially what we are doing is those features that have more gain are the ones that are selected, and the rest are discarded. So that way, the features that are selected, are far less than selecting all of the other features. So essentially what happens is that, now I'll show you some of our experimental results and comparing it with others. Data set, we had, again, all of the data sets. One thing to note, though, is that, getting very good data sets is a challenge, and as many of you all would know. So our data sets are obtained from the various websites. So data set 1, we had 838 malicious, 599 benign, and data set 2 has so many malicious, so many benign. And disassembly, we got from, we used tools, PEDI assemble. So these are generate assembly code, we are using tools, And then we have training and testing. So what are our results? HFS is hybrid feature set. BFS is binary feature set, which is sort of duplicating some of the results that were obtained by Maloof. And then AFS is assembly feature set. So the new idea that we have come up here is this assembly feature set approach and the hybrid feature set where you want to combine different approaches, binary, assembly, and the libraries. So if you look at the classification accuracy under same conditions and same data sets, the hybrid seems to be performing the best. So now we are trying to figure out why is it. The answer seems obvious, but again, we want to look at, sometimes it's data mining tools. Some of the problems is that we can't, finding explanations is really hard. And that I like some feedback, from people like Chris and Elisa and others here. So we had hybrid feature set, we had 93.4 with 1 gram. So average, let's look at the average, 96.3 on SVM of different, so classification accuracy. But if you look at just binary, it is only 89. What is a little confusing is that assembly we thought could be better, but assembly was giving us 86. But the part is the assembly with 1 gram, binary seemed to be really good. But overall, we are finding that the hybrid data set seem to be, for data set 1 as well as data set 2, hybrid seem to provide the best results. Binary seem to be performing slightly better than the assembly features. Okay, so this is the data set 2 area under the ROC curve on different feature sets. And okay, under different conditions, we were obtaining the test results. Okay, so and there is data set 3, false positive and false negative rates on different feature sets. Data set 1, we got 5.4 false positive and false negative 2.6. The binary seemed to be overall performing better. Sorry, binary was 17.8. Okay, so binary and assembly were not that much difference, whereas the hybrids seem to give us much better performance. Okay, so, and again, some of the technical details and the algorithms are given in the paper, and I'll be happy to send it to you. Okay, so future plans for this part of the project. System calls seems to be very useful. Need to consider frequency of calls, and also detect malicious code by program slicing. Okay, and okay, so the second part of the presentation, I have about 10, 15 minutes, and I want to go through this. And the third part of the presentation is more, checking email worms, so I'll skip that part. The second part, I'd like to present that and get some feedback as well. Data mining to detect buffer overflow as well as worm detection. Okay, so the goal again is intrusion detection for worm attacks and buffer overflow attacks. So this part we got some jointly, Peng Liu and Shenshen Zhu from Penn State. They have been collaborating in the sense that they provided us with something called SIG-free. So they have a paper that was presented at the Usenext, which we found to be very useful. And so we contacted them, and so they, this is sort of a joint work, although the data mining part is something that University of Texas Dallas provided. Okay, so what are we contributing here? Worm code detection by data mining coupled with reverse engineering, and then buffer overflow detection by combining data mining with static analysis. So here we are making some fairly strong assumptions. Now, many of you would have heard of buffer overflow, a situation when a fixed size buffer is overflown, by a larger sized input. So how does it happen? You have an input string, malicious or due to some error, the red part, right, overrides the light blue as well as some of the dark blue parts. So what are the consequences? Then what? So return addresses could be overwritten, okay, and you could have some catastrophic situations with buffer overflow. This is a problem that has been studied extensively by programming language experts. So he says, so what? Program may crash or the attacker can execute his arbitrary code. So attacker can have his code in there so that the program can get executed. It can now execute any system function. Once it gets in there, it has access to all of the system functions and all of the critical code, and so it can really open a back door to take full control of the victim. Okay, so what has been done stopping buffer overflow, both prevention and detection? Prevention approaches, you can find bugs in the source code, you analyze the source code, bad programming practices, and operating system hardware modification. Detection approaches capture code running symptoms, okay, automatically generate signatures of buffer overflow attacks. Okay, a detection approach. Now this is a assumption that was made in the SIG-free work by Penn State, Peng Liu and Shenshen Zhu. What they are saying is attack messages usually contain code while normal messages contain data. That's based on observations. Okay, normal messages are containing data, attack messages usually contain code. So what we are then saying, okay, can we use data mining to classify, again, classification problem, to classify, is this data or is this code?